So, I did an inspection on my bees, and I was absolutely appalled by what I saw.
It looks like the hive beetles either laid in the what do you call it, the pollen, and have just now emerged, or if something else is going on here. If that's, I don't know if you can see in those two specific ones. Yeah, there's focused. You can see that right in here, at that specific one, you can see 3 maggots, or 3 larvae emerging.
There's a lot of hive beetles on this frame.
There's especially a large volume of beetles on this frame. It looks as if, I don't know, that's where they're laying their young. This is another what we were talking about in here. You can see at the bottom all of the larvae just chewing their way through everything. Every single inch of the bottom has hundreds and hundreds of larvae on it. And then here at the front bottom, you can see all the dead bees that the other bees have not cleaned out yet. Oh my gosh. Okay. So,
Oh my god, look at that pile of them.
yeah, I'm gonna bring the camera in a second after I show you this frame. But they have eaten every single inch of wax, every bit of honey. They've hollowed it out from the bottom. I don't think you can see that very well. But the maggots are eating everything inside out. And this was one of their resource frames that had all of the pollen on it and a little bit of honey. And
Oh my gosh.
this has been 1 week since this happened. That is a whole pile of maggots at the bottom.
Now that you've seen what I saw, it may be more understandable to you why I've chosen to launch a crusade against the beetle. And it all starts with this packet of Jello. Well, kinda. It's not just Jello, you see, it's actually 5 million microscopic worms. And they're gonna help me win the fight against small hive beetles. You see, this variety of nematode is S. rheobrov, and S. rheobrov attacks small hive beetle larvae in the soil as well as greater wax moth larvae. This is going to be my primary method of taking care of those nasty small hive beetles. Like I said, those nematodes live in the soil, and they eat the larvae of the small hive beetles that fall right out of the hives onto the ground. First, we need to clear a path for the nematodes to enter the soil, and that's where they'll dwell. So, take this rake and rake around any debris in a 3-foot radius around each of the hives. Nematodes are interesting little critters. They'll go into the soil between 1 and 4 inches deep, where the small hive beetle larvae are, and they'll enter that larva, reproduce in it, and create one nematode, and one larva can create 20,000 additional nematodes to help in the fight against the small hive beetle. Now, what we'll be relying on is water. Now, water is important for nematodes because it is their means of travel. They actually travel in the thin film of water around each dirt molecule. So, naturally, we'll need to irrigate the soil before we apply the nematodes. I'm going to do that with a watering can. Now that a 3-foot radius of dirt in front of each of the hives is been irrigated, the nematodes have a mode of transportation, and now we'll go upstairs to mix them up and apply. Now for the application of these nematodes, we're going to need a few things. The nematodes themselves, a strainer, and I'm using this pressurized sprayer. You can also use a watering can with a sprinkler nozzle. Just make sure it distributes the nematodes evenly. What we're going to do is open this bag up. Now this bag is the actual medium, this little gel stuff, is what contains the actual live nematodes. We're going to spray some water inside of the bag. We'll then close the bag as carefully as possible and mix them up. Now this process here will separate our nematodes, which we want, from the gel, which is not necessarily bad for the soil, but is not what we want to put in our sprayer. So now that we've mixed them up, we're going to pour our nematodes through this strainer. It's going to separate the actual worms from the gel. Boom, we'll do it one more time. Now the bag is clear of our 5 million nematode friends, and in the strainer is the gel which they use as a medium in shipping. Now what we're going to do is pour the rest of our water, again as carefully as possible, through the gel until we get the desired 2 gallons of water in this pressurized strainer. Now 2 gallons and 5 million nematodes is certainly over the recommended dose, but as you've seen, the problem is big, and getting the actual appropriate dose is kind of hard considering they're microscopic. 5 million is about the smallest dose you can get. So I'm going to continue spraying the water through the gel just to make sure to separate all the nematodes until we get to 2 gallons on the side. I'll see you then. Alright, that step only took me about 3 minutes. I've got my sprayer loaded with nematodes, and we're ready to go downstairs to the hives and apply. You may be wondering why I've mentioned the 3 feet number, and that's because the owner of Southeastern Insectaries, where I got these nematodes from, and the University of Georgia co-authored a study, and they found that nearly 100% of hive beetle larvae were located within 36 inches of the hive, and almost 96% of those larvae are located 4 inches deep or shallower in the soil. That's why the 3-foot number is so important, because that ensures 100% coverage, possible coverage of the nematodes to where the larva should be. So now I'm going to go ahead and apply about, this thing is 2.5 gallons, so that would mean we're getting about 1 million nematodes in every half gallon. I'm going to apply half of this jar around our right hive, half of it around the left, and I'll see you after that. That's it. I've sprayed my 5 gallons of nematode mix into the soil, 3-foot radius around the hives very thoroughly, making sure to get even distribution, and shaking the canister while applying the nematodes. And that's it. Usually you'd want to water them back in, but here in Atlanta we're expecting a little rain, a little thunderstorm from tonight until tomorrow, and that's going to do the job for me. For now, phase 1 is complete. I'll see you with phase 2. Hope you guys survived the time travel okay. It's a few days later after we applied our nematodes, and now we're going to enter phase 2, destruction of adult small hive beetles. And this, in here, is part A of that plan. In this box contains something called a beetle barn. This black little box folds up, just like as you can see here, and it's got 4 little holes, 3 little holes, 4 little holes on each side, and this sits flat on the bottom of the hive box. And when the adults fly into the hive, they're going to look for somewhere to hide because the bees aren't going to be attacking them. They'll enter one of these small holes, and inside will be a boric acid tablet. Now unfortunately I can't really show you guys these because they're not approved for use inside of the beehives, but if you look up boric acid tablet on Amazon, it'll come up. Just remember what it looks like. I'm going to load up the traps now. We're going to do 2 per hive, and then down there we'll install them and show you part B of phase 2. So as you guys can see, here's the beetle barn up close, and those are the holes I was talking about on every side. So I'm going to take one of the tablets, just drop it in that center bit. That's what's going to kill the hive beetles. We're going to close it up, just make sure. Snap shut. Bada bang, bada boom. And that is a set beetle barn. Alright y'all, so we're down at the hives. We're going to go ahead and crack them open, see what's happening. This is probably the hive you saw from the intro. They were infested with hive beetles, and so we downsized them to a nuke size so they could better manage on their own the issue. So basically now we just got to see what they got. Looks like a good sized nuke. Good population. Now this hive is queen right, or at least they were as of last week. Yeah, good population. Nothing is screamingly alarming so far. I already do see some hive beetles though. Ugh, disgusting. Yeah, as you guys can see, that frame just has a ton of hive beetles on it. pretty gross, but there's enough bee coverage to where it doesn't look like they're making much of a dent. Go ahead and smush the ones I can see. Open up one more frame here, just so I can get access to the bottom and drop those beetle barns down. Alright, so now that we have access to the bottom of the hive, I'm going to drop one of our beetle barns here in the back corner. Sorry, girls. Perfect. Go ahead and place that in the back corner. Now I'm going to shift all the frames over and put another one in this front corner. Drop this in the front corner. Make sure it's all closed up. Alright. Alright, perfect. Now I'm going to scoot the frames back over. See another hive beetle? I'm going to manually extract that one. Okay. Cool. So now I'm going to return the frames to their original position. I have to figure out what to do with that queen cell. This nuke is going to blow up in population in a few days. But, I mean, they obviously weren't ready to take the full 10 frame box a few weeks ago when they had that, not a few weeks ago, a week ago, when they had that huge hive beetle issue. So now I know that I put the beetle barns in this corner and in this corner. So now, phase 2 part B comes in. We're going to get some top of the frame oil traps going. So these basically rest in between the frames, and you fill them with the, mineral oil, and they catch hive beetles. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. Fill each one with a few, I don't know, half an inch or so of mineral oil. Just enough to drown any hive beetles that get in there. And then since I placed the beetle barn in this top corner, I'm going to place this trap back here. Just slowly squeeze that down in between the frames. And then do the same thing in this corner. One more. Put some oil on there. Oops, spilling it. Perfect. I'll squeeze that one in there. Squeeze that down so it meets the top of the comb. Actually, I'm going to pull this one out and remove some of that burr comb so it sits flatter. We're not trying to create additional hiding spots for the hive beetles. We're trying to kill them. So, I want to make sure the trap sits flat. Cool. Boom. 1 and 2. I'm just going to squeeze the frames together. And just like that, we've taken care of our adult hive beetles in this hive. So now we have our full treatment with phase 1 in the nematodes, eating the larvae in the soil, and the traps attacking the adults. And so now we should have full coverage of small hive beetles in this hive. So I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing on the full-size hive to my right, and I'll see you guys after that. I forgot to film an outro, but thank you guys so much for watching the video. I hope that this, my sort of strategy that's portrayed in this video will be able to help y'all if you're having similar issues. Hive beetles cause lots of damage for beekeepers. Hopefully with this method I'll be able to reach 95 to 98% efficacy in terms of kill rate for the hive beetles. I'll let you know in a later video how it goes. Already so far, it's only a few weeks later, and I can see differences in the hives. I'm seeing less adult hive beetles. I'm seeing almost no larvae, which is great, which means we've stopped reproduction. The nematodes are working, the traps are working. I've seen dead beetles in them. So everything's going really, really great. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to click subscribe and hit the like button. Check out some of my previous videos if you're interested in more beekeeping type of content, and I'll see you guys next time. I forgot to film an outro, but thank you guys so much for watching the video. I hope that this, my sort of strategy that's portrayed in this video will be able to help y'all if you're having similar issues. Hive beetles cause lots of damage for beekeepers. Hopefully with this method I'll be able to reach 95 to 98% efficacy in terms of kill rate for the hive beetles. I'll let you know in a later video how it goes. Already so far, it's only a few weeks later, and I can see differences in the hives. I'm seeing less adult hive beetles. I'm seeing almost no larvae, which is great, which means we've stopped reproduction. The nematodes are working, the traps are working. I've seen dead beetles in them. So everything's going really, really great. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to click subscribe and hit the like button. Check out some of my previous videos if you're interested in more beekeeping type of content, and I'll see you guys next time.